I want to continue reflecting a bit on the Word of God and how the Word of God comes to us. And I want to focus a little bit on the life of Bishop Alain de Boismenu, who was the bishop at Goilala, the bishop of the Papua Vicariate, or the New Guinea Vicariate. This is Mission Alive. You're with Roger from the MSC Mission Office. Now, Bishop Alain de Boismenu was probably constantly listening to the Word of God. As a young lad, he heard the call to be a priest, and through the seminary he continued to listen to the Word of God and to say yes. And there was a little story that as a young priest he was teaching in the apostolic school, and the founder, Father Jules Chevalier, said to him, "It's a pity you don't want to go to the missions." And he said, "Who says I don't want to go to the missions? I want to go to the mission. If you say go, I will go." And he did. He had the Word of God through the superior to say, you go to Papua, you go and be a missionary there. So he did, and all through his life, many different positions he took on or jobs he took on, etc. And he was known as the apostle to the Goilala. That's the mountain area from Goilala, the Goilala Mountains. I want to show you a couple of pictures here to emphasize what I'm saying. So we have Goilala. It was the first wharf, and later there was another wharf built. But up the top there you have those buildings to the left, and further to the left, I think out of scene, was where Alain de Boismenu had his house up on top there. And I would imagine from there, now the house is not there, the people have told me where the house was, and if you looked up into the mountains, which would be from that scene there, would be behind us, you could look right up into the mountains. And I haven't got a photo exactly of that, but it would be a little bit like that. Probably more to the left, off to the left, looking up into the mountains. And from where I stood, where his house was, you could see the way into the mountains. Because I was living at Kabuna, and coming down through Kabuna was a river, the Olga River, not the Olga, Ibala, I forget the name of it now. It's called Kabuna, but it's not the real name of it. There's a river coming down there, and it comes down through the mountains, joined by other rivers and streams, and there's a valley. You can see a valley up there, and obviously if you're going to go up into those mountains, then that's the way to go. And I would imagine Bishop Alain sitting there looking up into the mountains and hearing the Word of God and say, we have to go up there. There's people up there, we have to go up there. And he knew there were people there because he had contact with the people on the coast. And this is the way it often worked. You have contact with one people, they hear the Word of God and they're converted, and they have relatives living in other villages and other places. And then as those people make contact, they talk about this mission, what's happening with the church, and so on. And so the people at Kabuna and up further up there, the Cooney people, they had relations right up into the mountains, and they knew the people up there. I don't know how it was. It may not have been friendly all the time. There would have been fights between them, but they knew that there were people up there. So Bishop Alain de Boismenu sat on probably on his veranda of his house, looking right up into those mountains, and heard the Word of God, and to think, we have to go up there. Previous to that, Bishop Henry Verius, he explored and opened up a lot of the villages along the coast. And before he went back to Europe, after about 7 years or so, he went back to Europe, and he died there of malaria. But before he went, he and the governor of Papua, Murray, went up through those coastal villages, and they were sitting up on a hill in the foothills and looking up into the mountains. And Bishop Verius said, when I come back, we're going up there. But he never came back. He died in Allegio, where he was buried. That was his home place. So he never came back. But he would have spoken to de Boismenu about that before he went. And so the word was handed on. So de Boismenu would have known, yes, we're going up there. But that's how the word of God comes to people. And that's how the word of God come to us. In our reflections, in our thinking, in our discussions, getting ideas. And we can say, yes, that's what we need to do. And that's mission. Keep spreading the word of God. And thank you for being with us.